Good morning. Welcome to Breakfast News on ABS Television. I am Ifeyinwa Arono. On the news this morning, Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency projects flood disaster in 14 local government areas of Anambra. Nigeria stocks hit 8-month low as sell-off accelerates. 19-year-old boy kills girlfriend in Benin. And on the foreign scene, evacuation of rebels to opposition-controlled areas begin in northern Syria. Welcome to the news, now the detail. The Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency says 14 local government areas in the state are at high risk of flood this year. Some of the local governments, it said, may be hard hit by the natural disaster, and they include Agwata, Idemili North, Obaru, Anambra East and West, Njikoka, Anocha, Ayamelum, Dunukofia, Orumba North, Onitsha North and South. Our correspondent Emmanuel Okonkwo was at the 2018 Flood Prediction, Prevention and Mitigation Workshop held in Oka, from where he filed this report.
Acting Director General of the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency, NHSA, Federal Ministry of Water Resources, Mr. Olayinka Ogunwale made the revelation while presenting a paper on the 2018 Annual Flood Outlook, AFO, as a sensitization workshop where he called on the state government and NEMA to intensify efforts to mitigate the flood outbreak. The event attracted participants from across the country who were drawn from the Ministry of Water Resources, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, as well as people from erosion-prone areas in the state, exposing them to best ways to predict, prevent, and control flood disaster. Mr. Ogunwale, represented by the Director in charge of Engineering Hydrology in the agency, Mr. Clement Nze, said that flood disaster is inevitable in the country, hence the need for early preparation to reduce its impact. He listed overflowing of rivers, high rainfall intensity, improper urban planning, and flood plains, as well as indiscriminate dumping of refuse in the waterways as some of the major factors that lead to recurrent flood disaster in the state, and called for attitudinal change of the state residents towards the environment.
And the urban planners, the regional planners, whatever, should be able to enforce the laws, the regulation with regards to where people should build their houses. Those portions of land that adjoin the water, the river, the flood plains are very beautiful. People like to go there, spend millions of naira to build houses, but they are obstructing the flow, the natural flow of rivers. So they should discourage them, they should stop them.
In a keynote address, the Commissioner for Public Utilities, Mr. Obiwankwo, represented by the State Director, Water Supply, Mr. Emmanuel Igwebike, who described the state as one of the states in the Federation that is most ravaged by the ecological disaster, disclosed that as part of its efforts to preventing the reoccurrence of flood, as witnessed in the state last year, the state government has, through the Ministry of Environment, Beautification and Ecology, embarked on massive desilting of drainages, as well as partnering the World Bank in recovering of lands from erosion, and urged Anambra to avoid practices that would encourage flood outbreak. He commended the agency for organizing the program in the state and their efforts, and assured them of the state government's collaboration in the fight against the natural disaster.
The Ministry of Environment and Beautification has undergone what we call evacuation of drainages. Most drainages have been blocked for quite a long time now, causing the flood to overflow. But they have gone into serious evacuation of the drainages. So most drainages are free now. So the flood now flows very well. It doesn't overflow.
Presenting a paper on urban and coastal flooding in Anambra State, the trifecta effects of watershed, geology, and urbanization, Dr. Joseph Ama emphasized the need for people to embrace afforestation practice and shun deforestation as it contributes to erosion outbreak.
You could recall that in 2012, there was a devastating flood in Anambra State that destroyed the property worth billions. My lecture actually centered on the causes, the soil type of the area, the watershed, all the drainage areas, and then man-made factors, and then natural factors.
In their remarks, some of the participants of the program, including the Special Assistant to the Governor on Utilities and Water Resources, Mr. Titus Aguike, Dr. Matthew Ofodile, Mr. Lazarus Mberede, appreciated the NHSA for holding the event in the state and called for replication of such at the grassroots to help enlighten the general public on flood mitigation measures. The event featured question and answers section. In Oka, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo.
And on a brighter note, the saying that when one door closes, a better one opens is now the order of the day in parts of Oka and environs, as residents of the areas now pay less to go to work and places of their businesses, with a recent ban on commercial motorcycle operations in the area. ABS correspondent Ngozi Obileri monitored how residents of Oka Capital Territory are faring since the 1st of July ban, and reports that tricycle and shuttle buses are now plying various routes. Her report.
Some routes that were initially hard for commuters to board, either tricycle, popularly known as keke, or shuttle buses, have now become pits for shuttle buses and tricycles. At Aroma Junction, ABS observed that people going to State Secretariat, Judiciary, Asubeb, House of Assembly, Noodu, and other parts of Opuno now board either shuttle buses or tricycle to their destinations. The situation was the same at Regina Shelley Junction by Old INEC Road and Goodwill Junction, Opuno. When contacted, the chairman, Shuttle Bus Drivers Association, Oka North and South and Njikoka Council areas, Mr. Okenwaneke, said they decided to create pits at designated places to ease passengers the stress of having to trek a long distance before getting to their destination. He appealed to the government to fulfill its promise of bringing in tricycles to close the gap.
Challenges are in passengers, moto, and sharp. Then as well when the Kamutuju, on other voices also but now some now
On his part, the Vice Chairman, Keke Drivers Association, Oka North and South, Mr. Ike Chukwunwafo, said they will continue to create more pits for people, saying that their major challenge is limited number of tricycles in Oka.
Government, various pits because passenger gana uzo keke na gbafeta oju eju keke and most of the mmirizo ona afia ndị mmadụ alụ.
In their separate speeches, some passengers, Mr. David Ezekolu, Amala Oji, and managers of the pits at Aroma and Goodwill Junction, respectively, Messrs. Ebuka Anekwe and Chukwuka Onwudinjo, said they are happy that things are gradually taking shape, as according to them, apart from recording patronage, Oka is now wearing a look befitting for a state capital. In Oka, I am Ngozi Obileri, reporting for ABS News.
A 19-year-old boy, Junior Omoshaba, has killed his lover and left her corpse by a roadside. The incident happened at number 2 Akube Street off Silico Road, Ogida Ego local government area of Edo State. It was learned the deceased, Matilda Odiri, who is 18 years old, was stabbed to death inside her boyfriend's room during an argument. The deceased was said to have gone to her boyfriend's house to spend the night when she was stabbed with a knife on her right upper breast. Witnesses said the victim was stabbed at about 11 p.m. after she accused her boyfriend of having affairs with other girls. The boyfriend reportedly dumped her body by the roadside after killing her to cover his deeds. He was said to have fled when his father called in the police. We're moving on now to business news. Nigeria's benchmark stock index fell for a fourth day yesterday, dropping 0.8% to the lowest since October 27. The market attained a 5-year high in January when it peaked at 45,321.82 basic points. Since then, the NSE's benchmark all-share index has seen a downtrend due to continued sell-offs resulting from profit-taking, investors' reactions to the interest rate hike in the U.S., as well as political uncertainties ahead of the nation's 2019 general elections. Data shows that Nigerian Breweries PLC, Lafarge Africa PLC, International Breweries, Union Bank PLC, Fourth Oil PLC, and PZ Cuisines Nigeria PLC we had a major drag on the NSE ASI index to its 8-month low at the close of the trading session yesterday. And now to entertainment. Nigerian award-winning comic writer Nnedi Okorafor has been commissioned by Marvel Comics to write a standalone book for Black Panther character Shuri. Shuri, who gained global acceptance and fan base after the release of the blockbuster Black Panther, is the younger sister of lead character T'Challa. The role was played in live action by British actress Letitia Wright, while T'Challa, also known as Black Panther, was portrayed by American actor Chadwick Boseman. Okorafor had earlier written Black Panther, Long Live the King, and Wakanda Forever shared the news on her Twitter handle on Tuesday. Her tweet confirmed the news already shared by Marvel Comics on their official website, where they wrote, "Shuri will bring a domestic conflict to the princess's table." And the evacuation of rebels to opposition-controlled areas in northern Syria is expected to begin on Friday. Syrian state media reports that 10 buses gathered outside the Batina village in the southern province of Quneitra after a deal was struck between rebels and pro-government forces. The deal stipulates the departure of Idlib of terrorists who reject the settlement and allow those who wish to remain to settle their status with the authorities, meaning accepting a return of Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's rule. The UK-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said that buses would likely be picking up people from multiple locations in the strategic Quneitra province, which adjoins the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, but that it remains unclear how many fighters and civilians would ultimately be evacuated. Haman Biyat, the governor of Quneitra, similarly said that relocation would take place on Friday, but that he could not provide an exact figure as to the number of evacuees, adding that the government had so far prepared 45 buses. And on to the world of sport. Afiz Aremu of Norwegian club has joined the national under-20 team after his club granted the request of the Nigeria Football Federation, NFF, to release him for Saturday's second leg of the Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations qualifier against Mauritania in Lagos. According to a statement from the NFF, the defensive midfielder joined the Flying Eagles at their camp in Ikeja and trained with them. But when the coaching crew asked if he could play with the team on Saturday, he said his club would have to grant him permission to play as he was on holidays in Nigeria. The team's administrator, Ali Ibrahim, contacted the club and the team were granted the permission for Aremu to play on Saturday, after which he would return to Norway on Sunday. Aremu played for the Super Eagles in the qualifiers for the 2018 African Nations Championship and at the Waffle Cup of Nations in Ghana in September 2017. He, however, couldn't feature at the 2018 CHAN because he had joined IK Start before the commencement of the competition. Well, that's the news at this time, but remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by logging onto our website, www.absradiotv.com. Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ABSRadioTelevision. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ABS Radio TV. And now the main point again. Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency has projected flood disaster in 14 local government areas of Anambra. Acting Director General of the agency, Mr. Ogunwale, made the revelation in Oka. Nigeria stocks hit 8-month low as sell-off accelerates. 19-year-old boy kills girlfriend in Benin. And on the foreign scene, evacuation of rebels to opposition-controlled areas begin in northern Syria. Well, that's breakfast news this morning on ABS Television. I am Ifeyinwa Aron. Thank you so much for watching.